draw the line? Like, where can we draw the line? It was interesting, this past Sunday, when we were getting ready for past Sunday, we were getting ready for church and working through stuff. And part of the church service was asking troubles, like, what are the troubles in your life? And there's categories. And we got a number of them that were just like, oh, these are so hard, because there's so many challenges where they just don't yield to simple solutions. It's like you can see this, you can see the positives here, you can see the positives here, you see the negatives here, the negatives here. It's really hard to do. And it's how do you sort through these things that may be more along the lines of tensions that we manage versus problems that we solve. It's really difficult, really, really difficult. And that begs the question, like, where do we draw the line? Because some of these situations, again, that people shared, that we're so grateful you shared, were just tough. Like, I think, I don't know what I would do. So I just wanted to hold forth on that for a little bit. Where do we draw the line? When this is particularly around relationships, with relationships that are hard or strained or dangerous or tense, and we're sort of like, what do we do here? And these are just random thoughts, because I don't have the answer. I remember a number of years ago, actually a lot of years ago now, doing a service at New Church Live on addiction, and we had a sort of a planning team on it, and we had one person their loved one found sobriety through going to jail, and then we had another person who the bottom completely fell out because they were sent to jail. So what's the right answer? Well, I don't know. I mean, it was obviously the right answer for one person, the wrong answer for another, and I think with life, there's just a lot of that. So I don't want to come across as that there's a right answer. I do just want to leave you with one tool to maybe think about. So it's interesting. There's many lines, and again, I'm going to be doing a service on this, with in terms of where we draw the line. And I think about Jesus and the money changers at the temple. We're not aware of that story. Jesus sort of finds that they have this racket going where for people to get to church, temple, because this is a Jewish culture here that Jesus was part of. To do that, they had to sort of pay for some stuff. They had to pay for a sacrifice, and they were charged, exorbitant amounts. And there's poor people with very little, and sort of there's this financial barrier between them and God, which is just like, hello, that does not work at all. That's not Jesus's way. That just doesn't work. So Jesus completely loses it. One time in the Bible where one could honestly say he was furious, overturns the table of these money changers, frees some of these doves, etc., etc. And clearly a line had been crossed there. And it's not to say that your job is to go, kick butt and take names. It's just saying that there are lines, and how do we kind of look at it? And one way to look at that is not like, all right, I'm ready to take them on, is to look at what was Jesus trying to free. What he's trying to free, it's an interesting way to look at it, these doves. And these doves signify peace and love, and it pictures these beautiful things that were caged up and somehow monetized. And Jesus is just like, no, that absolutely is a line that cannot be crossed. And I think that would be a place to start, like, what is it that we really want to hold on to as the core? That's sort of step one. What's the real core? And the real core is always going to be, how do we sort of protect, free, protection and freedom for something like again, picturing a dove here are really one and the same. And it's just this beautiful image, right? And this freeing, and looking at that and thinking through a very important question, which is, what's the loving thing to do here? And the loving thing, like, that sounds so simple, right? But really try to think of it 10 years down the road. I think that's the key. 10 years down the road, here you are at this moment, 10 years down the road, what's the decision that you make today that you feel like in some way will still be the loving decision, will still feel like the right decision 10 years down the road? Now, it may not always work. That's really, really clear. It may not work. It's not about, we look back 10 years, did it work? And if it worked, it was the right decision, because lots of times you can make the right decision and it doesn't work. Think about, a lot of people have loved ones who struggle with addiction. A loved one who struggles with addiction, they may still be struggling in 10 years. It doesn't mean that you didn't make the right decision back here, whatever that decision might be. But it's that 10-year bet. And the other part of it I just want to throw out there for people to think about is this idea of 10 minutes, this idea of really, really looking at it in this deeply, deeply loving way. Like, how do we do it in this deeply loving way? This deep love, this deep compassion. And the way that this love, I think, can work is pretty phenomenal, which is it's this love that we can really try to exercise this idea of unconditional love, where we're where it really is this loving thing, but it's unconditional. It's not based on conditions. So I'm going to do the loving thing and I'm going to let go of the results. Again, that's the key, letting go of the results. Very difficult to do, but that's what we're really asked to do. Can we do the loving thing and at the same time let go of the results? That's unconditional love, because there's not conditions. We're not trying to make it successful. And we kind of put conditions on the front end or conditions on the back end. This is about trying to remove conditions, so we're just trying to do the loving thing. It's not easy to do, but that may give you a better idea of where to draw the line. So I hope that makes sense to your friends. And I'm getting some text messages here that our stream is not working. So my apologies for that. I'm sure Marcus will repost this service ASAP. Because I'm not quite sure what's happening. But anyhow, wishing you folks all the very best. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do our little meditation. We're going to do a little prayer bell, take a little breath, and then we're gonna then move on to a little prayer and a little blessing. So first off, just the meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, friends, wishing you all the very best.